Now, Marvel love doing playsets based on films that are coming out, and obviously we can't stop them doing that, but the beauty of the Infinity Saga is they've made sets based on previous films, which I think would be a fantastic idea to revisit. My first set idea would be the Guardians of the Galaxy prison. This would be a fantastic opportunity to get all of the Guardians of the Galaxy in a different outfit, being the yellow jumpsuits, an excellent way to get a newer version of adult Groot. And honestly, I see the play features for this set, like being able to take the top of that tower off, being a wondrous thing for a play set to incorporate. Yes, you obviously have to get over the fact that it is a prison, but LEGO make LEGO City prisons all the time, and I feel like with a bit of ingenuity, and probably a better naming scheme than Guardians of the Galaxy Prison, I can see this set being a fantastic set for adult and kids alike. Now granted, I'm not giving prices in this video, because I just want these to be sort of ideas thrown to the community. I would see this being a small to mid-tier set rather than something massive. Again, like I was saying in my previous video, that Marvel is a theme based around characters and should be celebrated for those characters. So giving us more variants of those figures and putting a little bit of more money into the minifigures should be something we're doing with the Marvel theme, instead of just giving us characters with no leg printing and no arm printing. Another set that I'd love to see is the Spider-Man versus Shocker fight. I know we had something similar to this back when Homecoming was released, and not everybody's a fan of Shocker, but personally I love Homecoming, so I'd love to see this type of a set. It would also be a fantastic way of us getting the jumpsuit version of the MCU Spider-Man outfit, a figure which a lot of people are still wanting, and this could be a good way of introducing that figure. Not only that, I see the play features being amazing. Making a bus explode, or having a wall cave in, or something along those lines could be something easy to do on a set like this. Again, I see this being on the smaller side of sets, because you maybe would include 2, maybe 4 minifigures, being the jumpsuit Spider-Man, Shocker, Ned, maybe Flash. 4 minifigures, which I think would be a fantastic inclusion on a set like this. As for another type of playset, I'd love to see more inclusion on the character side of things. So even with these newer series coming out, like She-Hulk and Moon Knight, I'd love to see even just 1 or 2 sets based on these shows. I've made an entire video on this that you can see on the channel, but I think introducing another small playset for a series like She-Hulk would be great. Doing a set like Smart Hulk's Laboratory. We already know it was made by Tony Stark, so you can throw in a bunch of references from the Iron Man Armory sets, and I think it would be a fantastic way of getting a She-Hulk figure and a Smart Hulk figure, which we haven't had. And considering Endgame's been out since 2019 and we haven't had a Smart Hulk figure yet, I think there's definitely a mistake happening there, as again, Marvel is based on characters. Give us these characters in LEGO form, even if the set does take a little bit of a hindrance because of it. Especially on playsets, people will be happier to pay for more minifigures and less set than on things like a big UCS set. So keep that in mind, LEGO, when you're coming to make future sets. Minifigures are what's going to make adults want to buy your playsets. Just remember, they can't just be thrown together though, they have to be good figures. And you never know, making scenes like the Guardians prison might even make adults want to go out and buy your sets. But then again, I said in my last video that I'm not against new concepts. I really like the idea of LEGO doing a Marvel Icons collection, and even things like dioramas. But the thing is, LEGO, we don't want to be spending 350 quid a time. I think it's really important, if you're going to do a set at that price tag in the Marvel Icons collection, that you get more than just one thing. Look at the Harry Potter icons. Say what you want about the set, that set did it much better with giving us more versatility across the Harry Potter universe. Something I'd love to see Marvel do if they're thinking about taking on a larger Marvel Icons collection set in the future. As for now, I don't think we need larger sets. People have proven with sets like Groot and the Thor's Hammer that you don't need to make a full-on massive Marvel Icons collection set as one set. You can split it into several different smaller ones. And sets that I'd obviously like to see are things like the Eye of Agamotto, the Arc Reactor, 2 things that I think would sell really well when it comes to a Marvel Icons collection, especially that Arc Reactor. But more unique things that you could do in this type of collection is things like a Doc Ock Claw, the one that gets snapped off in No Way Home. Star-Lord's cassette, we already have the tape in the Groot set, why not give us the cassette player as well? And maybe some of the jet boosters that Star-Lord uses to just fill out the set a little bit more. And then I'm gonna mention web shooters. They're such an obvious Marvel Icons collection inclusion that I think would be fantastic as either a part of a larger Marvel Icons collection or just singular, but more on that a bit later. To end off this video, I want to talk a little bit about the elephant in the room, UCS sets. But before that, a little word from our sponsor, Squarespace.
First off, what is Squarespace? Well, Squarespace is an all-in-one platform that helps you design extremely professional-looking websites. You can either build it from scratch by just adding a blank page and building each segment individually using their blocks tool, or you can use their award-winning templates to make your website exactly how you want to make it. Have an idea for a business or podcast? Well, Squarespace lets you sell physical and digital products straight through Squarespace themselves with an abundance of commerce tools, so you can get a good gauge of where people are finding you from and how many visits your site's getting. That paired with their smooth checkout service means you can run an extremely efficient website and not needing to know a single line of code. I would know TommyCBricks.com is built using Squarespace, and I would say I've used most of their tools, from email campaigns, selling products, commerce tools, and their multiple contributors tool to allow others to view and edit my website when things need updating. Yeah, there's sites like Rubricable which allow you to upload that kind of stuff, but I always wanted my own website where people came to me to buy my stuff. And if you want to do the same, you can do it by just clicking the link in the description below to start a 30-day free trial with Squarespace, and make sure you use code TommyCBricks to get 10% off your first website or domain name. Thanks again massively to Squarespace for sponsoring this one. Let's get back into the video.
Now in 2021 we got things like the Daily Bugle and the Benatar. I'm counting the Benatar as the UCS set for that year. These are the type of concepts we were hoping would be improved upon in 2022, but unfortunately got things like the Black Panther mask and the Hulkbuster. And now with both of those sets out and reviewed by LAN members, it's safe to say that a lot of us Marvel fans are worried about the future direction of the Marvel theme, and I want to offer some suggestions which I think a lot of the community would love to have sets of. Now obviously we've talked about the Avengers Tower and the Statue of Liberty before. I'm going to avoid them, even though they are completely valid sets and would definitely bring in more interest than something like the Black Panther mask or the Hulkbuster. I want to offer a few more concepts in case they're not thinking about going that direction just yet. The first one is a UCS Oscorp. We've got the Daily Bugle. I think it's time for another building of that particular scale, and I can't think of an inspired model more appropriate than the Amazing Spider-Man's Oscorp. This would be a fantastic way of getting some really beloved characters that we haven't had in LEGO form yet. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit is one of my favourite suits, even though I know a lot of people don't like it. I think it's a fantastic Spider-Man suit and would love it to be exclusive to a set like this. Obviously we'd have some form of exclusive minifigure for Andrew Garfield as well as Emma Stone, playing their respective characters, and we could have characters like Dr. Connors, the Lizard. There is so many figures you could do from this particular film, and you could even include characters from the sequel film like Electro, which we've already had a figure of before, and Harry's Green Goblin as official figures. Now I don't know how well this type of a building would sell based on the minifigures alone. There's no other real time you could include figures like this unless you were planning on doing a full wave of Amazing Spider-Man sets, which I don't see happening anytime soon unless Amazing Spider-Man 3 does inevitably get made. And like I say, it doesn't have to be based on the one from Amazing Spider-Man. I think inspired from is a better word to use, even though it would be coming with a lot of Amazing Spider-Man type figures. Obviously you're not going to be able to build every floor we see in the film, but something like the underground bit would be quite cool on maybe the second floor, and the hologram room and even the spider room would be really cool representations of rooms that you would see in an Oscorp building. So an Oscorp building based loosely on the Amazing Spider-Man I feel would be a fantastic inclusion to the Marvel UCS lineup. But maybe they don't want to do another building based on Spider-Man. Maybe they want to do something different to what they've done before. Well, with things like the UCS Razor Crest that has just come out, I would love to personally see a Milano based on the UCS Razor Crest. And don't get me wrong, it would be a very hard ship to build, and I really hope the designers of sets like the Benatar would come back to do a ship this particular scale, and yes, I'd want it to have the same price tag as something like the UCS Razor Crest to really give that ship some justice. Now, if I'm honest, there's not really a lot to say on this type of a set because, well, I mean, the set would kind of speak for itself. It would be really nice to see LEGO take on a ship that's not just all grey for once. And sets like that Benatar set was a breath of fresh air, and I'd love to see them do it on a much bigger scale. Throw in some exclusive prints, hell, maybe even make Adult Groot exclusive to that particular set if you weren't planning on doing the playset that I was speaking about earlier. And even then, if I'm totally honest, they've done sets before that could be turned into UCS sets, and when I say UCS sets, I might mean more Master Builders sets in this instance. Obviously, Marvel don't really have their own term for UCS sets, but I'd love to see sets like this come back. This is a sealed version of the airport battle that I bought a long time ago for the Airport Civil War series. And that type of a set there could be a fantastic set to turn into a Master Builders / UCS set. One, again, filled with 20 plus minifigures of all of the characters from that particular scene. I think LEGO are really missing out on these types of opportunities to go back and revisit sets as well as make new ones. They're worried about the popularity of these new sets. We'll start making stuff that people actually want. And I say this all out of the love for the theme. I want to continue buying this theme for years and years to come, and I hope that they make sets tailored towards my type of age range that I would be excited to buy, both of which hasn't happened in 2022. The closest we got was the Sanctum, and even then the minifigures were very lackluster. I'd rather pay an extra £20–30 to have some really decent minifigures alongside a set like that. LEGO, if you're listening, please consider these types of ideas. And if you don't believe me on what types of ideas would go well, look at the comments section of this video, and I urge everybody now to pitch their own ideas for sets like this. If you guys want to see my video about me talking about why they should make Disney Plus sets, click the screen now, and I will see you guys in the next one.